Hey, welcome to Studio Sunday. This week I've been drawing a commission for somebody, a friend of mine, and it's been a unique challenge. I'm doing a Strangers in Paradise version. Strangers in Paradise is my graphic novel and my characters. I'm having my characters recreate The Birth of Venus from Sandro Botticelli. That's a classic painting, maybe one of the most famous images in Western culture because it's been around so long. Painted in 1482 to 1485 in that 3-year period. Botticelli was a contemporary of Da Vinci. So this was back when there were a lot of allegorical paintings. Everything had meaning to it. You look for major and minor patterns of measurements in the paintings, like the phi ratios and the golden ratio and everything else you want to think of. They were doing it all back then. They were kind of inventing a new wheel for themselves. And we're still marveling at it today. So this painting is actually kind of a homage to Platonic beauty, love, all the good things in life. So that's the challenge. It's probably one of the most imitated images, everything from advertising to satire and, just every art student at some point surely has redrawn images in museums, and this is one that you would be required to do. It was in that process when I was actually drawing Botticelli's version first. I don't just dive in and do mine. First I draw the master's version and recreate it, the lines that he made. And in doing that, you really get to learn the picture, because then you know where everything is tucked and how it all fits together. It's a lot like pulling apart a puzzle and then putting the puzzle back together for yourself. And you can recreate the thinking process of the person who made the puzzle. Well, this week I had a drawing challenge when I was in the penciling stage, and I made a short video about that where I talk about the challenge of drawing Aura, one of the characters in the painting. So yeah, check it out. It's very interesting. But okay, I'm going to turn the camera and show you what I've been working on and what I'm about to ink. Okay, so the first thing I did was find the highest resolution Google image I could, and I printed it out. And the reason I do this is so that I can do markups and take measurements and find out, I was very curious about where things lie. So if you do the quadrants, they meet here at the top of the thigh. And I was very interested. I'll just recap this. I went over this in detail in the previous video, but I'll just recap. The middle of the picture is right there. And Venus is off to the side. And I'm wondering if it's not something to do with, somebody suggested it's a movement to suggest movement to the front to right. But I think it may have just as much to do with chastity, because if you move her over, she would be right there. Which, yeah, that may be just a move of chastity to get her slightly off center. Also to keep her from being too specifically the center of the world, which is something that was in my mind. And remember that. I'll come back to that in a minute. So basically the whole thing is she's been miraculously birthed from the sea, and there's a really gross, gory reason why that could have happened if you look into the legend. And here are two Roman god somethings, seraphims, whatever, that are blowing her in. This one's name is Aura, Vesper and Aura. And I had a challenge trying to figure out why Vespa, why Aura, her body looks like it goes that way, and then suddenly there's a thigh going this way. And it looks like one of those paper dolls in South Park where, you can just do whatever you want. So I was getting into that challenge. I didn't want to draw my character with what I thought was a bad pose. And when I did a deep dive in there, I realized I think what was going on here was the master Botticelli had drawn it correctly, of course, but there was a curvature going on back there that is hidden by this front figure, and you don't really see the implied shadowing that would imply, look, there's body going backwards. Usually when a body figure is going back, if you want to show that it went back, you do some sort of shading. Well, we're missing that opportunity here because Vesper's in the way. So that's what I decided was going on. And if you got around to it, Aura's butt is over there feeding that thigh straight to the front. So anyway, it was a drawing challenge. I made a video about it. So here is naked truth, beauty, purity, and it's coming to shore, and the first thing we do is rush up with censorship. That's how I read it. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. The handmaiden is coming up with, and she has a name too, Aura. Okay, that's enough of all that. You don't need my version of what Botticelli's doing. So this is a complicated picture. How do you take it on? What I did first was draw Venus, and then I drew the handmaiden. This is a simple figure. That's a simple figure. You can handle that. This looks complicated because everybody's weaving in and out. So that's a little more, that is more challenging than that. That is more challenging than that. So I did this figure first, that figure first, this figure last, and then I spent 3 days drawing this figure over and over and over and over and over, over and over and over and over, like a crazy person, but I would not let it go until I figured it out and got it right. So here was the simple version of Kachu, kind of drawn very close to the Botticelli style. I chose not to do the elongated left arm that Botticelli is doing, but I managed to get it still to go where he wanted it to go, which is just below here. So yeah, and then the handmaiden, Aura. There you go. And there's, some sort of Ren Fair clothing going on here with Green Man Press. Hi, Charles. Leaves and clover and all that. And she's rushing up with the cloak and all that. And very flowy, very pretty. I did my study right straight up and down, but when it's time to put her into the picture, I realized there needs to be a slant there to get her to move. So these are my study pictures. And then I got over here to the bad guy and struggled with like, okay, how does that work? I finally came up with this one here. There were so many pencil lines, I inked the correct line and then erased all the other pencil lines. This is a filthy piece of paper. So between these studies, I put them in Photoshop and got them into the layout and put them in the correct positions. The reason why I use Photoshop is because if I was drawing this for a comic book on a deadline, I would just go straight on to the Bristol and start drawing and erasing that. No matter how bad that piece of paper looked at the end, I don't have time for studies. But when it's a commission, you want the paper to be pretty, and you don't want every mistake in the world on the 1 week worth of penciling mistakes and erasures on the paper for the commission. So I draw these individually, and then I get the 11 by 17 marked out on Photoshop, and I position them in there, get them all the exact size, no redrawing, no erasing, get them the exact size and the exact position, and there's my layout. You'll notice that I changed a size ratio over here on Francine. This is Aura, but this is my character Francine, my character Kachu, who's the center of my Terryverse, my universe. So I love it that she's the center of the world here. And then the two people who adore her in my story is David and Casey. Casey also adores David. So they are enacting Vesper and Aura here. And there, I kind of figured it out. Did you notice they were winged seraphim? So yeah. And one thing I can tell you about the picture is that from top to the horizon to the bottom, that is, if this was 10 inches, that would be 6.12 something inches, 6.2 inches actually. So that's basically the golden ratio right there. The golden ratio hits her at the belly button, both in my picture and in Botticelli's. And then I moved Kachu over, so she really is the center of the universe. So that's on purpose, because I think Kachu is, and womanhood is the center of the universe. We would not be here without that. I am not shy about that. I don't feel the need to move over there for modesty reasons. That's it. So this is what I light boxed onto the clean piece of Bristol. And this is what I'm about to ink. Here we are. So yeah, the center line. I added a little pearl in the oyster shell down here, the shell. And let's see, I added one other thing here. In Botticelli's, these flowers are lilies, I think. And in my version, they're going to be Parker lilies, which is the tattoo that all of the Parker girls wore in Strangers in Paradise. It's a private little club of badass women. And I added one more character here, and let's see if you can find them when we get to work. All right, so how am I going to start this? I think I'm going to start from left and just work my way right, so that my hand is always on clean paper. So I'm going to start with the couple, and then I'm going to do Kachu, and then I'm going to do Francine and the forest behind her, the shell, fill out the background. I think I'm ready, guys. Let's do it.